All right, good evening. It is 7:04. I'd like to call the School Building Committee meeting for February 20th to order. Sarah?
Oh, yeah, come on. I'd like to call the school committee to order.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's start off. Is there any citizens' queries? Yes, Gary, if you could come up and grab the microphone there. Yeah, you can sit down there, that's fine. Oh, now you give a mic, you might not give it back.
Gary Shanton, 3 Colleen Way, 1.5 minutes. Citizens query. I request that the school committee and school building committee request and support motions and votes at the next tri-board meeting to affirm that the combined Doyon and Winthrop eligibility and feasibility studies have been public, comprehensive, lawful, and approved by the MSBA. My request is based on town and MSBA project timelines that are derived from the town and MSBA public records and submitted to you all earlier today and distributed to citizens at this meeting tonight. Voters at town meeting need facts on this school project in order to make informed votes for or opposed. However, ongoing project misrepresentations include the Doyon School should not have been associated with the Winthrop School eligibility or feasibility study. A community elementary school at the Doyon site defies the community development plan. The school committee had no right to provide funds necessary to complete the feasibility study for a community elementary school at the Doyon site. Each of these statements are false and irresponsible distractions from serious debate on a serious subject. They are potentially harmful to education and the community. Thank you very much for all your hard work and endurance throughout these 4 years and this unique opportunity for Ipswich to have one of the best elementary schools in the country for all of Ipswich students for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens' queries? All right. Seeing none. First, I forgot to say, I'd like to say welcome to everybody here tonight. Thank you for coming out on your vacation week. And second of all, just to remind the committee and to inform everyone here that we are on ICAM for the viewing pleasure of Ipswich tonight. And welcome to all those who are watching at home. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Kevin and Paul here to start us off on the discussion here of the cost estimates.
Okay. I want to thank everyone for showing up tonight. I know it is vacation week, and I appreciate the quorum. There's a lot of people here. There was a couple of items you asked us to follow up on last week. One was a question on what exactly the SD package to MSBA included other than the estimate in the 3011. So I just provided this one-pager on the front that gives you the highlights of what is included in what a schematic design is, which you saw this definition before, and then some of the highlights of what will be included in the package. Within all of these bullets, there are other items that are included, but it's all reflected in the drawings. If you have any questions about any particular item and what would be included in the SD, we can ask Dan and Dawn to elaborate on that. So besides the actual update and enhancement to the drawings, we do have the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education submission that goes along with the package that I know Doc's been working on, and we've transmitted to Paul. We're good to go on there. Thank you for your hard work on that. On the back, there was some question about the budgets and MSBA cost data. So first, let me say, I'm sorry, I should have started with, as we told the committee, we did on Friday morning transmit to the MSBA 2 estimates, the architect's estimate, the OPM's estimate, and the affirmation of a value management process in the log that you have before you. Went to the MSBA. MSBA responded back that it was received. We did speak with them this afternoon, just generally about the value management log and the process. Paul had a conversation with them. I did as well. And we told them that we'd be in touch and let them know how it went. So everything has been received at the MSBA, and we told them we expect to submit if we have a successful VM session this evening. So we go to the back of the page, and we talked about the progression of the budget. And you'll see at the top, people forget no, some people forget how long we've been going at this. So we just tried to show you the cost history from our PDP, that initial submission that we made way back when, to our first PSR, then our second, and now where we stand at the SD, schematic design phase. Paul has summarized underneath with the packages you received, the estimate totals. You'll see that there's some average MSBA bids data. I'm going to let Paul explain this because he has a better handle on it than I do. This is data that comes right from the MSBA. They've analyzed their cost since the inception of their program, and they've projected forward what the cost will be. We're showing this for two reasons. One is people had questioned how did we gravitate from where we were to this current cost estimate. And instead of just saying it's cost escalation and time, we showed you. Here's the data, the actual data, and Paul will explain that. I asked, also followed up with Dan and Don, and they've provided this memo to give narrative form as to any items that may have driven the cost up in ways of added scope or scope definition. I want to just call it added scope because a lot of times, again, from feasibility to schematic design, what might be a concept, some type of tree to a defined tree, in simple terms, can be a driver of cost. So Dan and Don did provide, they did a little budget summary as well that mimics ours. And there are some bullets here that show how the project has developed. And Paul, I'm going to give him a couple minutes to explain this MSBA data and what it means. So I refer to this back page in the colored graph.
Okay, on that second page, there's a kind of a scatter diagram, and you see a kind of a trend with the line goes up towards the right. And what this is a historical year-by-year listing of bid prices for various school projects that the MSBA keeps a database on, and this is on the MSBA's website. And in order to compare one school from another, the MSBA is tracking the bid prices based upon dollars per square foot. So the bid price bid by the contractors divided by the square foot of the building gives you $1 per square foot. And so as you, the most recent bids were taken in October of 2017, and so that's the latest we have cost data for. And what at that time in October of 2017, the average of the bid prices was approximately $420 per square foot. Professional estimators right now are advising their clients to, no one can predict the future, but many are advising their clients to assume a 5% escalation of construction costs going forward. So just as a hypothetical calculation above this graph, I took the October price of $420 per square foot and escalated it at 5% per year to our anticipated June 2019 bid date, and that would get you about $450 a square foot. So these are market forces at play here. So our current estimate that we're going to try to work on tonight is $57.5 million. That's the architect's estimate of record. And for 123,535 square foot building, that works out to $465 a square foot, just a little bit over what the average October bid projected to June 2019 would come at. So anyway, only purpose for this is to provide kind of a framework of what we see in the market.
The other important part of the chart, I'm sorry, Don.
I'm sorry, I thought you were going to move on. I was just going to point out, I have the chart open and it live tells you what these are. If anyone's wondering where Ipswich is, this last little square at the very bottom of 2019, it's the little cross right above it. So if any, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Kevin.
No, that's
but
quite all right. It's a good
for
point. You can go to the
perspective, it's-
MSBA website, and there's an interactive tool. You can
Yeah.
actually filter, right, Don? Yeah, I think you can
Yeah, you
filter out
can
by
filter it, you
community.
can just hover, and it tells you what all the projects are and who's working on them, and that one is Ipswich.
So, to help with, the MSBA will remind you that they're not a reimbursement program, they're a grant assistance program. And in the right-hand column, we have the MSBA construction funding cost per square foot. When we started this project, for our budgeting purposes, in your 3011 on what the town contribution and the state contribution would be, when we started, the MSBA was reimbursing $299 a square foot. SD, the schematic design package, the last vote of the MSBA board, when they looked at the construction data, they increased it to $333 a square foot. So we talked about, I want to scare everybody, we talked about the rising cost of construction